Good morning, planet Earth. Thank you very much for tuning in today to the QC Cube Space Station. My name is Eric Staubus and I am the QC Cube Space Coach. Today is video number 6 in the series of 7, which I have designed to introduce you to the intelligent energy of space. Today's video is about tuning into the source, and I like to begin each video with reflecting back on the initial discovery, which was 40 some odd years ago. And the discovery that I made was that the source of the energy that moves particles through space is space itself. It began with the realization that there was more to space than we realized. The moment of enlightenment actually was a result of puzzling for a long time, months and years, over how is it there's particles moving around in solid matter? How does that energy relate to what's going on in our everyday life? I couldn't figure it out until one day I had the realization that, well, that's because we trust our perception and we perceive solid matter to be solid, and we think it is. It isn't really. It's in constant motion, and we think space is empty, and it's not. It's full of energy, and it's full of intelligence. And then we have to remember where space is. It's everywhere. It's everywhere we are. It's contained. We move around in it, and it's inside of us. It moves around inside of us. And like I said in the last video, the emptiness of space actually is the way we perceive God, okay? And this is the realization that we all need to straighten out the problems that we've got on planet Earth right now. You'll see that as we go along. All right. This is video number 6 in the series of 7, and so let's do a little recap of what we've covered so far. In video number 1, we used basically simple mathematical principles to derive E equals QC cubed, the spiritual formula that adds intelligence to this infinite universe that we all float around in. Video number 2. I showed you how the intelligent energy of space can be used to turn a regular bottle of drinking water into QC cubed space water. What is that? Well, it's a bottle of water that's been under a pyramid that's had the intelligent energy of space focused in it. What do you think that does? Focusing the power of the Creator in a bottle of plastic water. In video number 3, we solved the mystery of the pyramids by first explaining how the universe works and then how the pyramid focuses the energy of space that fills this universe so it can enhance the life force. What I'm not going to show you in these videos, but I can tell you this right now. Like I said, with the magnifying glass, the sun's energy is coming this way, the radiant energy. The force that's moving that way is the second force, the force of evolution. It's moving in directly opposite to the sun. Anyway, but that's for another video. In video number 4, we met the laws of space. They are creation, evolution, and infinite exchange. In video number 5, we saw the flaw in the Michelson-Morley experiment, which proved the ether does not exist, when in fact it does. And we saw how this also disproved the human soul and realized that this error in thinking is the real cause of global warming. This is an intelligent planet. We are intelligent people. This is an intelligent universe. The planet, we're feeding that in with this disbelief in its soul, in our soul, thanks to the Michelson-Morley experiment, none of which is true, and it's giving back to us exactly what we think into it, and that's the cause of global warming. Moving right along. Today in video number 6, we are tuning into the source so that we can harness the infinite power of space and use it to stop global warming in video number 7. Tuning into anything is a process of gaining control over whatever it is that you are tuning into. So, the question becomes, how do we gain control over the energy of space? Good question. What I'm going to suggest is that we are born with that control. And then we spend the rest of our lifetime unlearning the genius that we were born with. And what confronts us now is the challenge of relearning the truth about who we really are. Does that make sense? I'm very glad that we are not alone in this process, because Jesus tells us in John 14:26 that the Father will send the Holy Spirit, who will teach us all things and who will bring all things to our remembrance. Okay? Now, let me begin by introducing you to one version of what this metaphysician calls spiritual mechanics. As we know from the law of infinite exchange, we are all involved in a constant exchange of information with the surrounding universe. So here I'm going to hold up this force diagram. I'm going to put it right over here so you can zoom in on it. You can see it on the website. This is the force diagram, the QC cube force diagram. In the spheres, you'll see we have the creation, evolution, infinite exchange, the 3 laws of space functioning in the universe. We have 3 spheres inside of that larger ellipsoid, and here we have in the center soul and mind. That's our mind, and then we have that interacting with the body or matter over here and with the spirit or God over here. There's a constant exchange of energy between these. Okay, now you saw that. It shows the laws of space, creation, evolution, infinite exchange, transferring information back and forth between 3 levels of consciousness that define our existence, which we talked about earlier. You can see our individual identity, our mind and soul, right in the middle of the universe of information that surrounds us and functions through us. Sometimes we get our input from the surrounding world. Sometimes we get our input from spirit, from within and without. As you might have guessed, the more input we get from spiritual perfection, the holier we become and the healthier we become. Because we are essentially made in the image and likeness of the Creator, the implication is that as spiritual beings, we are potentially perfect. Now let's consider advice that comes to us from the authority, my man Jesus. In the 13th chapter of Matthew, Jesus gives us examples of what it is like when we achieve the heavenly level of consciousness, which is where we're trying to aspire to, right? Then in verse 49, he says, quote, "So shall it be at the end of the world," unquote. Okay, the end of the world is the point in consciousness where the thoughts of truth are in the majority and the error thoughts have lost their hold. Then in verse 52 he says, quote, "Therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, who bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old." Very interesting. Every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, who bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. Okay, so now stay with me now, because we're almost there. This statement deserves further analysis because it actually holds the key to how information exchange functions for the benefit of those who are willing to recognize the truth about space and how that truth can be used to change the destiny of our planet. By spiritual mechanics, I mean using the laws of space to achieve a desired spiritual outcome. Okay, as in any logical endeavor, the first thing we need to do is define our terms. The scribe, okay, is the faculty of our mind which receives and transcribes upon the tablets of our memory every wave of thought that interacts with our consciousness. As the force diagram depicts, we may be exchanging information from material or from spiritual sources. The law of infinite exchange tells us that we are receiving in accordance with what we emit, what we give off. That's the key. So, it is our own decision to raise the standard of what we give off. Then the scribe may be exalted to the level of receiving impressions from the spiritual source only. Okay? And that is what it means to be instructed unto the kingdom of heaven. That's what Jesus is saying. Instructed unto the kingdom of heaven. Now, there is a fascinating transformation of events in our consciousness where everything that has been stored is then brought forth in our mind to become of visible and practical value. We see what we've done. We see what we know. It's in your brain. It's in your mind. Okay? We are then like the householder who brings forth his things old and new. That's because our mind is the house of God. Now, let us put all this together into a spiritual mechanism that we can use to make the necessary changes in the earthly mechanisms that sustain us. We know that material thoughts make a material body, and spiritual thoughts make a spiritual body. The paradox is the discovery that the energy of space is already intelligent. We don't teach that. We're going to start teaching that. That's going to make the difference. That means it is spiritual. It's already spiritual, whether we believe it or not. In other words, we're already spiritual. Then, thanks to sympathetic vibration, coming right out of physics, okay, the vibration in one object caused by a similar vibration in another object, thanks to sympathetic vibration, when one person tunes into the source, everybody tunes into the source. Not all at once, of course, but when the seed of truth is planted in the universal mind of humanity, in time it grows to fruition in everyone. All good and well-being come from the divine light that is shining within every child of the Creator of this universe. That's you, and you, and you, and you, and me, and everybody. With this realization, we take control of the destiny of the planet Earth. By realizing who we really are, we take control of the destiny of the planet Earth. All right, I'll see you in video number 7. Thank you very much.